Should be starting up here in a second. It says it's now live streaming. I'm going to record as well. And I should be starting up here in a second. We're live, so I'm out. I'm going to mute myself as well. Talk to you guys in.
Okay. Thank you, Thomas. And I'm going to bring up the YouTube here just so I have access to the chat here. All right, and hello to anyone out there. We're just going to wait a few minutes. We'll get kicked off at about 3-4 minutes here. Let people gather into the webinar. Really excited to have Ken here today. And if anyone's in the chat, they can sound off where they're at in the country. Hope to hear from you, and then we'll kick off the webinar. And Ken, we'll do some small talk while we wait a few minutes here. Are you around the Oklahoma City office? Are you somewhere else? Where are all the OneGold employees located?
Yeah, we're all here in Oklahoma City, based here in the same headquarters as APEX. So I think OneGold's got now 5 employees officially, so it's been good. Mm-hmm. I think we'll do about $200 million in revenue on that platform and put a couple million to the bottom line, which not bad for a 1.5-year-old company, man. So
yeah, really excited. So when exactly did you guys get started?
We launched the app in January this year, and then about a year prior to that, we launched the desktop feature. So only been live for 19-20 months right now, so to the end consumer. But it took about a year to build out all the tech, so from the time we said go and fund it to having the tech all built out was about 8-9 months. So yeah, so it's about 2.5 to 3 years probably since the idea came up to today. So not too bad. And it was kind of nice having a startup type operation rather than just kind of a bigger business that's kind of been more established and mature. It's teaching us a lot of things too. We're learning things that we didn't know we could do, and now we're applying that to the big company, the APEX side of things, which is great. I mean, the app is tremendous. I mean, it's crazy what we can do in an app environment. We're excited about the future there. I mean, it's for APEX, I mean, frankly, as we learned from OneGold. So it's been good for all of us on this end. And you guys are more of a startup type, right? I mean, how long have you guys been in business?
Yeah, so we started in 2018, and just so everyone knows, we're getting some people jumping in. We're just going to wait a few minutes for people to gather into the webinar. So Ken and I are small talking while we wait for that. But Rocket Dollar started in 2018. So I was in Chicago at the time and started talking to Henry Yoshida, our CEO. And I was kind of shocked. There's a company, Midland, that does self-directed IRAs in Chicago, and I knew they did alts. That's about all I knew. I did not know about this whole entire world because I've been a stocks and bonds 401k world. And Henry Yoshida, our CEO, was in that world, in Austin through the whole 2000s. He did a bit of fintech with a company called Honest Dollar. I think you guys chatted a tiny bit about that in the podcast. And he started getting with some self-directed investors and just just some coffee and said, oh my God, the fees in this section are outrageous. It's really tough to get support. There's a couple different types of IRAs. They're all expensive and hard to use. So Henry got really excited to say, hey, let's get some founding team together. Let's start talking. So Thomas and Chris came on. We had Dan, who was our first salesperson. And I started chatting with him while I was in Chicago, actually. And I was the first one to take a leap and said, hey, I think this can be something really real. Henry had some success before. So we're definitely new on the scene. We started with our solo 401k, and then we've really tried to, the IRA LLC, the checkbook IRA has been our flagship product. Now, like we were just chatting about a little before this, we're going to start getting back to that direct custody, that really seamless process with some of our partners.
Right.
So it's been an exciting journey. I joined the company when we had about 84 customers. It was really exciting to see 840. Now we have some around 1,500. So 150 million in assets. So that growth has been really exciting. And while we're fresh on the scene, we hope to, continue making a name for ourselves and teching up this space.
That's great. That's great.
So awesome. We got a lot of people in the chat as well. We have someone asking what's going on here. We're doing a webinar on precious metals and doing that with self-directed IRA. So we hope to get a few people to stop by as well. We're throwing this out on social media. And Rocket Dollar, we're a self-directed IRA provider in Austin, Texas. We help people basically put their IRA into alternative assets like precious metals. We do not provide investments though. We provide a nice chassis and an IRA that lets people invest into these alternatives, much more easily access them, what they might have trouble getting on something like TD Ameritrade or Schwab and Fidelity. All great companies, but sometimes have trouble accessing directly something like gold, something like that. So we have Ken Lewis here today, CEO of OneGold. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hey, thanks for the opportunity. I've been here at APMEX, actually the parent company, for about 10 years now. OneGold is a relatively new concept. It's about 2 years old. We've had an app up and running since January this year. And it's been a fun ride trying to figure out how to take an industry called precious metals that many people kind of think about as archaic and bringing it to the modern times. And that's really what we're trying to do with OneGold, and we'll talk more about that. But I think it's an area where precious metals has been an opportunity for people to get into. This year's been great for our business. We're setting all-time records on the physical side as well as on the OneGold side, and look forward to talking people through why people are getting into precious metals and why might digital metals or OneGold work for somebody at this current time.
Great. And we already have some questions coming here, so awesome. And feel free to drop questions into the chat as we go. I'm going to let Ken mostly keep speaking, keep his rhythm and stuff like that. But if I see a super good question, I might interrupt. Otherwise, we'll get the questions. We'll really tackle them at our break. And then I will jump into some IRA focused education. So quickly who I am, and then I'll let Ken get to his stuff. I'm a fintech entrepreneur. I started at the University of Wisconsin as a financial advisor in the Chicago area, doing 401ks and basic financial advice for clients. Then I decided, hey, I started talking to our CEO, Henry Yoshida. Saw a really great opportunity, and I thought that Rocket Dollar was really going to shake up the space in self-directed IRAs. And we're located in Austin, Texas. We have partners in Texas, Colorado, California, and then investment partners all over the country, like OneGold in Oklahoma. So I'll let Ken take it away here.
Hey, look, so OneGold came about, a few of us were sitting down 3 years ago, and we were talking about the crypto space. And frankly, we were trying to figure out what the crypto space was taking business away from precious metals. And we had a task force to kind of start drilling in and looking at the user experience of cryptos, and specifically Coinbase. And we were really kind of enthralled by a lot of the elements of crypto, but we weren't necessarily fans of being a crypto. We didn't want to be a stable coin. We wanted to have physical metal in a vault that you own and have title to. And so, we took these ideas and kind of ran with it. And OneGold is really the output of those ideas. So at a really high level, what OneGold is, and it's important for everyone to know that we procure metal And then we sell fractional ownership of that metal to the consumer. APMEX, the parent company of OneGold, has done over $11 billion in business in our history. Been around about 20 years, kind of the established leading player in e-commerce for precious metals, which gives credibility and makes you confident knowing that the metals are actually being procured. So we procure the metal, and then we actually go out and we sell fractional ownership at pricing that you can't obtain physical metal at if it was shipped to your home independently. So it's very competitively priced, but the user experience is one where we put a lot of time. That Coinbase operation we thought was super, super efficient, and we wanted to make something as good, if not better, for precious metals. And our app or our desktop experience allows you to easily set up an account, allows you to link your bank account in a matter of a couple of minutes. It allows you to move money seamlessly between your bank account and your OneGold application. It gives you the ability to look at your portfolio and how it's performing, its return on investments. It allows you to trade 24/7. It allows you to get push notifications when metals are on the move, and a number of other features that we thought were super important that frankly were hard to deliver in a physical e-commerce space, but much easier to do in a digital space. The reaction has been nothing short of amazing. We've had really great success. We're north of $120 million in assets under management. We'll do over $200 million in flow this year. We've got customers from over 100 countries doing business on the platform. So one of our partners, as you see on the screen here, is Sprott. Sprott is a leading asset manager out of the Canada area, I should say. They have actually, I think it's now north of 15 billion under management. They're a 25% owner into the OneGold platform. And frankly, it's helped us understand a little bit more of, how to manage assets under management. We're traditionally a company that just ships metal to people's homes or to a storage location. We've never really been dealing with managing people's portfolios for them and allowing them to kind of drive the boat, if you will. So they've been fantastic, good partner of ours, brings credibility. I mean, you've got a public company in Sprott and the leading e-commerce player in North America, APMEX, coming together to build this digital concept where, frankly, digital metals don't always have the best reputation in the market when it comes to the history. Unfortunately, companies have not always been well funded. They've not always done what they said they're going to do. You now have credibility standing behind a product like OneGold that should give consumers confidence that the metal's really there, they're going to be taken care of, and any issues they have, someone's going to pick up the phone and make sure they're dealt with properly. So why should you own gold? I mean, it's a question we get asked all the time. I always tell people, do your homework. We're not able to give financial advice, but what we're able to do is present to you real numbers. So on the next slide, you can see here, believe it or not, gold is the second best performing asset class since the year 2000. And the only thing ahead of us is real estate. And we're far beating the S&P 500. All right, now that's over a 20-year horizon. But gold's kind of known as a safe haven investment, not necessarily the best performing asset or the second best performing asset in the market. The fact that it performs well is almost secondary to the fact that it offers other benefits to investors. The next slide will show you the area we like to focus on, and that's diversification. If you're going to own gold, I would never have all my eggs in one basket and own only gold. But I also think that if you put a portfolio together, you're going to find that it helps the portfolio perform a little bit a little bit less volatile than it would be if you owned all of one or all of another. Gold's kind of like bonds, or it's kind of other options that work inversely to the equity market. As you can see here, we show an example of a portfolio with gold in it and one without gold in it. Clearly, with it being the second best performing asset class since the year 2000, it's going to have higher performance. But even more importantly is you can go back and you can look at certain times in history. If you go on to the next page here, and you can see where gold's performed exactly like you would expect it would do. Take the year 2008. Many of us had investments out there. We saw those decrease dramatically in value. But if you were in gold, you would have been more protected then. And I think that's really what it does. When the equities market's doing great, gold doesn't always perform as well. When gold's performing well, the equities don't perform as well. And just take this year as an example. I wrote down a couple of numbers. This year, gold is up 22.8%, silver's up 35%, the S&P's up 9.9%. So it's been a really, really good year for precious metals. Why? Well, gosh, interest rates are at all-time lows. There's concerns about inflation and real interest rates. Our political setup has not been the most stable. Trade wars are out there. A number of things that tend to be benefits to a safe haven investment like gold and silver is kind of the environment we've been in for some time now. And then the other thing people sometimes think about is, should I just put, cash in my safe in my home and that be my way of protecting my assets? And if you go to the next slide here, you'll see that inflation can be your enemy. You put $100 in your safe and you go to pull that out 30 years later, you've only got about $49 in real value of that same $100. So it's something to think twice about. Do you just put money on the sidelines? Well, if you're going to put it on the sidelines, why not consider something like gold and silver for a percentage of that? And as you can see, that same $100 in gold would be worth $922 a day. A rather big difference than just holding cash in your safe. So inflation is really, really a bad thing for the dollar. And just look at what's going on today or even this year. The dollar's been devalued pretty significantly in the last 12 months. And as a result, gold's done very well as well. So it kind of, again, another part of diversification is looking at how the dollar's performing and looking at gold's performing. They tend to work also inversely. A strong dollar tends to be bad for gold. A weak dollar tends to be very good for gold. And although we don't like to project what gold and silver is going to do in the future, you can come back and you can just, take an assessment, say low interest rates, a lot of GDP, a lot of debt right now. GDP growth is a bit of a concern. All those things tend to be very positive for gold and silver prices when you look ahead. So, at OneGold, we offer a few options to people. Some people love the idea of owning gold. Some people like silver. Maybe they want to put their investments in platinum. On the next slide, you can see we offer all these options. We also store the metal in a number of different locations around the world. We use tier 1 vaulting partners, people like Brinks and Loomis. We have RSM or a top 5 accounting firm who comes in and audits the holdings every year. And you can feel comfortable that these assets are under lock and key and you're fully insured and protected. We have options in the US, Switzerland, the UK, and Canada. We're also going to be looking at Singapore and Hong Kong as other locations, and potentially even the Middle East at some point. So, some people love the idea of knowing that their metals are sitting in Switzerland rather than the US. We just offer the options. Our plans long-term, and I know Rocket Dollar is primarily a US-based operation, but our plans long-term is to offer 28 different currencies around the world to where people can, bring their euros in, buy their gold, stick it in Switzerland, and be comfortable knowing that that we're taking care of them in their form of currency, which we know is going to be very important long-term. So last things, I kind of covered it quickly, and I know I'm hitting it really hard, and I look forward to some questions here. But what does OneGold do for you? And if you pop up a couple of things here, low-cost pricing is important. If you buy physical metal, it's going to cost you significantly more than buying pooled metal through OneGold, primarily because you're buying finished goods that are in kind of retail formats. They have a much higher cost to me. I've got to then ship it to you. You've got all the different logistics and overhead that comes with that. Where OneGold is much more efficient, much more streamlined, much lower cost structure. So you're able to get a much better price. You can't go wrong with our interface. I encourage anyone to download our app. It's a beautiful experience. You can trade within seconds on the app. We even offer $5 in free metal to anyone just to try out the trading platform and see just how easy it is to be able to trade on the application. Security, your data information, the product, and making sure title passes and you're protected at all times are always going to be top priority for us. We talked about a range of payments. The one I love, we use a product called Plaid. Anyone who's kind of out there in the market and fintech world knows Plaid. I think they're being bought by Visa, or at least they're attempting to be bought by Visa on a $5 billion trade. What Plaid does is allows you to put your credentials in through a third party and link your bank account. We think that's a huge win in an app environment. Auto invest, you can buy $5 of gold. Literally, you can set your IRA up with us. You can put in $50,000 and you can say buy $1,000 of gold every day for the next 50 days. Well, why would people do that? Well, dollar cost averaging is kind of considered to be a highly recommended form of investing. The OneGold application will allow you to auto trade that at any time. Physical redemption, we actually allow you to go out and convert to physical product right on the app, and we ship it to you same day or next day. So you always can get physical metal in your hand if you want that. And then finally, I think overall, it's just the experience and being able to offer you that 24/7 liquidity. At any point in time, you can get in and out of metal. You can get your dollars in and out of OneGold in a matter of a moment's notice. So it's it's a really good operation. The next slide that we'd like to cover finally is, why would I be digital metal? Why not go out and buy an ETF or physical? It really just depends on you and what's important to you. We know many people are taking control of their investments. They like the idea of having it on their phones and be able to see it real time. We think that OneGold offers a number of features that, frankly, products like GLD or even physical metal can't offer in today's environment. And look, we're excited about the future. We're going to be able to offer people the ability to borrow against their metal at some point in the future. We're going to be able to offer credit card reward points where you use your credit card and you earn rewards in gold and silver, and a number of other features we're working on in the next 12 to 18 months. So it's a great product. I always encourage people just to download the app and take a look at it. Even if you just want to track metal pricing, we've got market news, we've got historical pricing trends of metals. It's a really nice way of just following the market if you're interested in metals. So Brendan, I think that's on to you, man.
Yeah, and we'll pause real quick for just a couple of questions. Awesome, thank you, Ken. So we'll answer a few precious metals questions. There's 2 here, and then I will jump into some precious metals inside of an IRA questions. So one for Ken here. I've just had OneGold for over 2 months now. After 60 days, do I have access to all my investments to redeem them into physical delivery?
Well, the reason why, just so you know, we sometimes have a hold period when you first buy in, depending on your payment method. Bank wires, instant cash, not a problem. ACH, credit cards. What we have to be careful about is that we find, unfortunately, with fraud in today's world, some people will come in and they'll make a transaction with a credit card, and then they'll have the metal shipped to them, and then we'll get a charge back on the credit card. So we do require a 60-day hold on ACH and credit card before you can convert to physical. After the 60 days, you can convert at any point in time you want. And frankly, if you're thinking about converting that fast, I'd encourage you to go to atmex.com and buy physical day one. But the 60-day hold is really for your protection and our protection, mainly because unfortunately there's fraudsters out there that made it a little bit more difficult to do business and do it honestly in today's times. So that's just a protection we have in place for both the consumer and OneGold.
Yeah, so a few preliminary questions that are a bit IRA, but precious metals related that I'll take, and then I'll jump into some of my education I've got here. So someone asked, is there a minimum to get started at Rocket Dollar? And there is not. So, our base product, I'll get into that later, is $360 to open up, and then $15 a month. And we set up a self-directed IRA. Some people kind of think, Rocket Dollar does not have a minimum. We get people started off with an IRA contribution or a small rollover. But some people think artificially, is it $10,000? That's what makes our fees worth it, the $15 a month for people to bring money over. So no, Rocket Dollar does not have a minimum. Anyone can join us. Generally, people think, hey, I'd want to get to $10,000 pretty fast to make the fees worth it at Rocket Dollar. And someone asked, do you take care of the stuff for me as far as investments? Rocket Dollar is self-directed, which means that you're taking care of your investments. And we're going to get into what's called a checkbook IRA. It's a really exciting product, very flexible, but we're also looking at options to make that experience simpler and much more streamlined in the future with ourselves and on partnerships as well. And someone asked, I really love OneGold. They're already saying, hey, they love the product. If I opened up a Rocket Dollar IRA, could I transfer that money into my Rocket Dollar IRA without any taxes? And the answer is, you can transfer fiat into Rocket Dollar. You can roll over old IRAs into Rocket Dollar. You can sell out to fiat and then contribute fiat to an IRA, $6,000 a year to an IRA. What you cannot do is take precious metals you already have and put them into a Rocket Dollar IRA. You can't really do business with yourself and your own IRA because the IRS can see that as kind of a conflict of interest, shoveling assets you already own, like maybe your own house or precious metals, putting that in your IRA. All of a sudden, you're juicing up your taxable retirement account. So I just covered those. Feel free to pop in more retirement or precious metals questions, and Ken and I will get some at the end here.
Hey, Brendan, while you got a second on that one.
Sure.
If people want, one of the things we do at ATMEX, our parent company, is we often will buy metal back. And then issue the funds credit to the consumer, who then puts them into OneGold because they like the idea of not having physical metal in their home. So we do see a lot of people taking physical metal and actually selling it back to ATMEX, taking the funds, rolling it into OneGold. they can do that, obviously. It's not on the IRA program, but it is a way to get out of physical and into digital if one wants to go that path.
Yeah, and so it might not be a way to dump all of your money into a retirement account, but think about a retirement account. It's a long-term play. So if you're dumping $6,000 each year, or if our solo 401k product, you can dump in even more, if you're a self-employed business owner, you can think about ways, hey, I do have a lot of personal assets. Maybe I sell off just a slight bit of this each year. Maybe what's performing well, like using AppMex, like Ken was talking about. Then you contribute more to your retirement account. Then when you see a drop in the market, your retirement account can enter that market just a few months later.
Right.
So who is Rocket Dollar? I'll kind of get into repeating who we are quick. We provide retirement accounts that allow you to invest in a wide variety of alternative assets. So precious metals, has always been one of the stalwarts of this space that kind of built this self-directed space. Precious metals and real estate is what really built it. What do we offer? We offer a checkbook IRA. It's commonly an IRA LLC or checkbook IRA. It's a very flexible product. Can do a lot of different types of investments. Can invest in precious metals. Can invest in real estate. And I'll get into that in a little bit. We offer a direct custody IRA. That currently it's a bit pricier. It's with our premium level, but we're constantly looking at ways and partnerships to hopefully bring that out and bring that price down in 2021. What that means is a custodian will take and purchase an asset for you and allow it to invest in an alternative IRA. We'll get into the differences of those in a little bit here. And we offer a self-directed solo 401k. So this is often for a solo business owner, someone that might have a consulting side gig. Maybe your spouse has a small business. You can both use the solo K to invest. If you're getting paid through the self-employment business, you can contribute quite a bit to the solo 401k. And then you can also invest that into precious metals or stocks and bonds and other types of assets. So really, really flexible products allow you to go outside of the typical avenue of ETFs and mutual funds, and then let you do that inside of a taxable retirement account. So what are some of Rocket Dollar's goals here? Similar to OneGold, why did we get in this space? We wanted to drive down fees in the self-directed retirement industry. We felt the fees, some of them out there were just absolutely ridiculous, really high, sometimes $1,200 just to open an account. We've seen as many as $5,000 to do these really special arrangements for self-directed IRAs, or really long fee sheets that are kind of overwhelming for a 2020 investor that's used to TD Ameritrade, Robinhood, no fees, no commission type of stuff. So you say, let's bring that down and bring that to a more modern level. Let's increase the technology here. Some self-directed providers did not even have a login at all. They were still using fax machines, all physical signatures for absolutely everything. Something that really just drives you down. You're a busy person. You're trying to get this financial stuff done in between work, job, kids, trying to get your time back. How can we give our customers that and just provide some less frustration through the technology and our partnerships? And also just support, better access, better education. Just generally, people are paying these high fees in the self-directed industry, but then they're still getting really mad at the support teams that are supporting them. Let's make sure someone's answering the phone. Let's make sure, you can get your transfer over from Vanguard or Fidelity, get it into your IRA, get it into your investment as hassle-free as possible. We're not perfect yet either. We're keeping improving, but we're saying this industry has been very far behind the stocks and bond industry. So let's bring that up to 2020 standards and a better level of service. All right, and myself, as I said before, you already know about me, came down from Chicago, really wanted to bring some innovation to this industry with Henry Yoshida and our team. This is the IRA LLC, also called the Checkbook IRA, which is our flagship product. It is a IRA similar to, you already know what an IRA is at TD Ameritrade or Charles Schwab or something like that, an individual retirement account. But we create these two extra parts here, a Colorado LLC and a bank account. And what that does is we appoint you as manager of the LLC. And because you're manager of your LLC, you can go out and grab almost any investment that you want with the bank account. You can go into a precious metals investment. You can buy it directly through someone like AppMex, or you can register your IRA LLC on a digital platform like OneGold and then be off to the races, trading that just like you would using their interfacing platform in your personal account and your IRA account. And so, if something were to debut like this at TD Ameritrade or Charles Schwab, this would take years and years and years of approval, of going through extra compliance layers, going to so many different layers and levels of bureaucracy to get this started. The great part about Rocket Dollar and the self-directed IRA, we're really happy we've got this partnership and this dialogue going with OneGold, but Rocket Dollar customers could start using OneGold the second their IRA was open, before we were ever talking to OneGold. As long as OneGold can take an LLC, they can take a Rocket Dollar customer. And as you sell off assets, as you have hopefully success with investments, you simply move that money back to the bank account. You can keep it in OneGold for an extended period if you want. We fought really hard with our partner bank to make sure that there's no fees for keeping your money out at OneGold or another investment provider for an extended period of time. But if you want, you can also bring that back, sell out of an investment, sell out of OneGold assets, sell out of precious metals, then go buy a different asset. Maybe go to a different investment provider. Then you say, hey, the precious metals market, I feel like it might be heating up, or I'm feeling uncertainty about my certain investments. You can sell that out, put that back in the bank account, get money back into OneGold. So what we're constantly doing and trying to get innovation for is helping you more easy access different investments, and also move money quicker between different types of alternative assets. And that's the amazing flexibility of the IRA LLC, or the checkbook IRA. People call that because of the bank account. It's just the world is your oyster as far as investments. Okay, so checkbook control. Why do people go to this IRA LLC, and why has it become popular over the last few years compared to what's called a direct custody IRA, where a custodian will go out and buy an asset for you? After you get it set up, it's a lot easier to use. You simply send a bank wire or a bank transfer to OneGold there. They said they're integrating with Plaid, different investment partners. Getting a bank link is easy to just send money into the OneGold platform. You don't have to wait on Rocket Dollar to approve a certain investment or a certain partner. You, as the manager of your IRA LLC, if you see a precious metals that approves by the IRS, you can go fire and go off to it. You can go register on OneGold right that day. You can send a wire right that day. And often what people find at self-directed providers is, if the service is not right or someone's not picking up the phone, you've got a real estate investment bearing down on you. You've got the gold prices swinging a lot in the last week. You haven't gotten someone on the phone yet, and you're having trouble getting your money out to that investment. 2 weeks later, the price of gold and silver has shifted dramatically. That real estate, that you're trying to invest with self-directed IRA is snatched up by someone else. So being able to move quickly allows people to really fulfill their investments, their investment targets. So you can invest in a big variety of different assets, precious metals and other assets like stocks and bonds or real estate, crypto. We have a lot of crypto users on Rocket Dollar as well. And you can move money in between those different assets without paying extra investment fees. So some self-directed providers will sell a precious metals IRA. You pay that, you pay all these fees, you get to set it up. And then you say, hey, I want to do crypto too. And I say, hey, that's going to be a whole nother opening fee. You kind of get surprised and thought, oh, I thought I could do both of these. No, you can't. It's another fee. Then you try and do real estate, you got to pay another fee. So the nice part about the IRA LLC is it allows you to keep your fees lower as well. It allows Rocket Dollar to set up a structure where you can quickly move your money around without kind of fighting and paying fees and doing different setups every single time. As the LLC manager, you get a lot more direct say over your precious metal storage, what partners you use, who you like to do business with, if there's any tussle or anything going on with the money. So there was a firm called Bitcoin IRA, and they did direct custody. So they held all the Bitcoin coins with a custody partner. They had a partnership. Someone was holding the coins, someone was doing the administration. And all of a sudden, that crypto company had kind of a feud, and the two partners started butting heads. All of the crypto customers were suddenly in the middle of that fight going, hey, who is my money with? Where are my coins going to be held in 2 to 3 months from now? Something's happened with the precious metals vaulting service that, I had confidence in before when I signed up, but I no longer have confidence in it. So the nice part was the IRA LLC. You get to work with who you want. You get to have control of how you make those decisions, the structure. If you like the Switzerland product at OneGold, go use it. You don't have to have Rocket Dollar say only the US gold product. You are free to pick any product on OneGold's platform. You're free to use their services how you want, and you get the final say in how you want to control that IRA LLC. And a lot of people feel that just, when the going really gets tough, that extra little bit of control and ownership of the IRA LLC is a big advantage there. And so you can invest in almost anything allowed by the IRS, which the IRS only has a few things that you cannot invest in, like insurance and collectibles. So you really get to go out and explore that investment world. If you know there's a strong investment for your IRA, you can go out and grab it there. And just some cons quickly. This is why we want to get back in the direct custody world as well, because we understand the IRA LLC is super flexible, but sometimes people just want that simplicity. Hey, I want something on rails, between Rocket Dollar and OneGold or a different partner or something like that. The LLC can sometimes, we have to charge some money up front, $360 and $15 a month. We'll have a discount code at the end here. We have to charge something to get that open. It's going to be a bit more than a IRA at TD Ameritrade or Schwab. There's going to be some fees there for us to set up that structure for you. And sometimes the self-directed IRA, sometimes if there's a very new customer, they're just a bit overwhelmed. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of flexibility with this type of IRA. But some people go, okay, this is too much. Can you just get something super simple? IRA goes straight into precious metals. So a direct custody IRA, you can see in the bottom right, where it's a very on-rails experience. We're going to continue to look in that in 2021 with partners there and talking and saying, hey, how can we get an IRA straight into something like precious metals or crypto or real estate? No LLC. Yes, there's a little bit less freedom. But if you have you or a friend who's just kind of overwhelmed, something can very simply get your money into a precious metals IRA. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a few precious metals topics, that sometimes people run into or they get confused about. Because checkbook IRAs and self-directed IRAs are so free, people ask, hey, what are the downsides? There are some rules about them that you have to be aware of. And usually each asset class has a few rules that you have to make sure that you're taking care of. I'm going to talk about a couple of the biggest for precious metals. So it's storage. You cannot store precious metals from your IRA at home or in a home safe. You can store them at OneGold. You can store them at a credit union down the street. You can use a vaulting service. You can use one of the pre-made OneGold, Switzerland or UK products that they have. You can use APMEX and go to their Oklahoma, their storage facility there. But the IRS, after, getting really frustrated with people at home, they said, we don't know how people are actually, what's your IRA's gold and what's your personal gold? Investors were kind of going, oh, I don't know. They're kind of playing games with the IRS. And the IRS said, hey, we're going to lock this down. You can still have plenty of precious metals in your IRA. You can invest all over in a big variety of metals and coins, but it cannot be at home. And why do they do this? It's just that if they want someone else to be able to lean on and saying, hey, if we audit someone and they're starting to get a bit uncomfortable with how they're treating the audit, they can go lean on that custodian and say, hey, how much gold is in the IRA? That just keeps it nice and simple for them. They don't have to go chasing people down as much. And it just regulation wise, if you're staying out of their hair, that's going to make it easier for you. So an easy way to fix that is, hey, you can just keep your gold at OneGold. That's the simplest. If people ask me a question, how do I avoid these prohibited transactions? Just keep it at a qualified custodian. Just keep it at someone that already knows how to do this stuff. If you do want to take home delivery or take physical delivery of gold, you can do that, but only if you have a safety deposit box at a local bank set up already in the name of your IRA or in the name of your solo 401k. If you do not have that set up, you should not take gold at home, because then where does the paper trail lead? Paper trail lead, you have your gold at home. You really have to make sure if you do take physical delivery, you have a plan to get that to a local bank or local custodian in the name of your IRA and LLC, and that checks all your boxes. Okay, so what's another big prohibited transaction? It is collectibles. The IRS has a short list of, what are approved metals, gold, silver, platinum, or palladium. That bullion has to meet the purity requirements. So something like a collectible gem, maybe like there's a prized diamond or something, a very, a certain type of, a moon rock is a very good example. You're buying some type of, you're buying something that is more museum based or more might be put on a collector's item rather than actually used as a physical transaction of value. The IRS does not like people presenting things in their homes. They do not like people buying classic cars and driving them around on the weekends. They do not like people buying Picasso paintings in their IRA because where does the painting go? It doesn't go into a vault. It usually where it goes up is in someone's home. It goes up to be shown off. And the IRS starts to saying, is this really an investment or is this really like more of a plaything, a collectible? So you have to, there are plenty of approved coins. You just have to make sure, stick to what's an investment. Don't be looking for, more collectible type stuff for your IRA. Stick to the basics there, what you can easily transact back and forth. But stick to the simple approved coins if you do go the coin route. That you'd be able to sell, exchange, and get back to AppMax or OneGold to be able to sell that back. Okay, so Rocket Dollar, here we have our fees on the left here. We have a $360 core account, then $15 a month. We have a $600 premium account, and then $30 a month. We call it our gold account because we love to pay homage to it, but you do not need a gold account or a premium account to invest in precious metals in an IRA. And we've really tried to bring down the price here. That's about a third sometimes of some of our competitors out there saying, hey, if you're doing the same checkbook IRA, IRA LLC 50, 60 times a year, you should be selling this at a much cheaper price. And over on the right, you'll see with hopefully the GIF animating there, that's some of our competitors' fee sheets. We have no assets under management fees. Our bank fees, we have a $25 wire fee. We have worked so hard to eliminate all the other nickeling and diming type fees out there to keep things really simple for our customers. And then we have a $50 discount code there for OneGold. If you go sign up for an IRA after this webinar, you can get $50 knocked off the opening price there. And right now, I'm going to open up things to questions. We'll probably try and take a retirement question or two and then a precious metals question or two. Okay. So right away, Ken's seeing a lot of people saying they enjoy OneGold.
It's great to hear. It's great to hear.
So someone says, I had an IRA with Fidelity. Could I roll over part of it to Rocket Dollar and buy gold through OneGold? Do I have to sell? So Michelle, you would have to sell to cash anything that you want to bring over to us. You do not need to bring all of your Fidelity IRA over. If you want to just bring over $10,000, $50,000, you can set up an IRA at Rocket Dollar. We will get that set up for you. Then we will do a transfer for how much you want. So the amount you transfer will be sold to cash, and then we will help you get that into OneGold. Then you can purchase precious metals with that.
Hey, and Brendan, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not an IRA expert, but there's really no tax impact in them, right? Because it's in an IRA. They're not paying tax on gains and losses. It's just rolling in. It's all a part of the IRA. Is that correct?
Yeah. So when you do a rollover from Fidelity to Schwab or those companies to Rocket Dollar, that is a non-taxable rollover. So as long as you go traditional 401k, traditional IRA, or you have a Roth IRA and you like your Roth, you open a Roth IRA at Rocket Dollar, you can move that into Rocket Dollar, and there are no taxes with that rollover. We'll look and see. Yeah, we just have one of your great customers here is just loving the idea of using both AppMax and OneGold. So great for bringing that up, Ken. So we have one kind of off topic and cryptocurrency question. Can I use my own exchange? Can I use a hard wallet or do I have to leave an exchange? So Danny, you can buy cryptocurrency with a self-directed IRA. You get to choose the exchange you want. Then it's nice to use an exchange that understands what an IRA LLC is. Most of the big ones do understand that. Sometimes the more smaller rebellious crypto exchanges do not understand what an IRA LLC is. You can still work with them. They ask, can I use my own hardware wallet? So the IRS has actually never commented on using crypto and storing it in your own hardware storage wallet. So again, kind of the safest thing is to leave it at home. They still have never commented on what it would mean to move crypto to your own hardware wallet. If you do, it is very important you leave everything in the name of the IRA LLC, and you really watch those rulings and see if they make any updates. Safest thing, keep it on the exchange. If it does ever go anywhere else, everything needs to be paid for the IRA LLC and cannot commingle with any personal crypto and retirement crypto. Just like precious metals, no mixing of personal precious metals and retirement precious metals. Okay. Someone is asking, what is the difference between a rollover and a transfer in kind? So a rollover would mean just taking some cash from Fidelity in a traditional IRA and moving it to another traditional IRA at Rocket Dollar. An in-kind transfer would be something like moving 40 stocks over from one retirement IRA to another. We do not currently support that. We do support the in-kind transfer of precious metals from one self-directed IRA provider to another. But just know it's a really hard type of transfer. Honestly, it's usually simpler to sell out of your precious metal if you are at a self-directed provider already that you're not happy with. Bring that all over to Rocket Dollar, get set up with OneGold, buy into OneGold. That is so much easier just because there's not as much infrastructure to move precious metals from one IRA and one provider to another. Okay. And a couple more crypto questions. If there's anything more precious metals for Ken, make sure to shoot that off. You can visit info@Rocket Dollar if you want to get in touch with us after. Send an email to there. I'd be happy to connect. Or we've got our 855 number right on the top of Rocket Dollar's website.
Hey, Brendan, while you're looking at the questions there, I just want to highlight two things real quick. I think that you highlighted earlier. In our case with OneGold, you have title of the product. It is yours. You're fully protected. It's fully insured. We get asked this all the time about how do I know, because people have a view that if the metal's not in my hand, I don't own it. And that's kind of common in the precious metal space. We've tried to take every step we can to make sure people know that your assets are protected. They're your assets. They're not ours. They're sitting in a secure vault, protected by a third party, audited by a third party. We think that's very important. And the second piece I want to cover while we're at it is, you talked about cost earlier. Buying digital metal over the physical metal is about a third of the cost on the premium on the front end. And then we charge a storage fee, which is basically $5 a quarter, not a month, a quarter, or about 12 basis points of gold and 30 basis points for silver. So you need over $16,000 in gold before you clear the $5 minimum we charge per quarter. So you're not going to find custody type arrangements that are anywhere near that kind of pricing in the marketplace today. I don't think anything's even close to that.
Yeah.
So we just like to highlight that it's lower to get into metal with OneGold, and it's much lower to maintain custody with OneGold than really anything in the marketplace that we're aware of.
Yeah, and one last thing, Rocket Dollar, then I'll shoot, a really good question just came in. So, and Rocket Dollar side, people always ask like, hey, where is my money? Same thing. Does Rocket Dollar own my assets? And Rocket Dollar's custodian partner is an FDIC insured bank. So we help custody your IRA LLC, but if you ask a lawyer, who owns the actual assets? It's the LLC owns the assets, not Rocket Dollar. So you're the manager of that LLC. And a lot of people feel just a bit more comfortable, as I mentioned, a bit more control over that. And then where do we drop that money after their retirement rollover? Drops to an FDIC insured bank account. And people ask, can Rocket Dollar just wire my money out and I never see it again? And we say, hey, it is your bank account. You are the manager of it. Rocket Dollar actually has zero authority, zero, to wire for the customer to an investment provider. And we like it that way. Is that, that keeps the customer fully in control, gives them confidence their money's sitting in an FDIC insured bank account. Their LLC is taking ownership of that gold or precious metals that Ken is talking about. And it's not AppMex's or OneGold's gold anymore. It's your gold. They're helping you with the service and the custodianship of it. They're getting that audited. That really keeps people comfortable. So Ken, I know you have great thoughts on this topic. What are the advantages and disadvantages of OneGold compared to a blockchain-based gold token like PAXG. Not familiar with that one, but I know you know a lot about the gold stable coins there.
Yeah, look, I first and foremost, I think if you're going to go the crypto route and you want exposure to metal, go a stablecoin route. I think there's absolutely no doubt that is the more safer way to go. I'd also tell you, and I think you're mentioning PaxOG, which I think is a great company, by the way. I know the guys at that firm. Be careful in who you buy or what stable gold coins you buy. The number one fraud, Bitcoin, not Bitcoin, but cryptocurrency is a stable coin gold product. Because gold tends to give people confidence that they're protected. And those are the people who have been burned the most when it comes to crypto from what my research has shown. But in regards to PaxOG and other products, really there's a big difference in fee structures. First and foremost, typically you're paying a much higher fee getting in to a lot of those products. I don't want to speak to that particular product because I'm not completely sure of its pricing, but I know at one point I want to say it was 300 basis points getting in. Secondly, taking physical metal out of a crypto stablecoin is very difficult to do if you ever want to do that. Very difficult to do. And then look at how you fund your accounts and the ease of which you fund your accounts. It's challenging. You're typically going to have to use an exchange to do that, who then charges their own fees. Where on the OneGold platform, we are the marketplace, if you will. So you're able to go in, you're able to go out and transact, you moving your money freely, however you please. And then more importantly, we make a two-way market. So some of the challenges with cryptos and even stable coins is you have to have a buyer and you have to have a seller. We are always a buyer, and the price is displayed on our site at all times. You know exactly what you're going to get for it at any given point in time. Where in a stablecoin environment, the price that you might get paid for it can vary dramatically, and really you have to have a buyer out there. So we think with our setup, I think if you look at the full distribution of PaxOG, we have far more dollars sold in and a higher dollar under management than they do at this current point in time. So again, it's just a little bit of difference. We're not against cryptos per se, and if you're going to go that route, I would say go stablecoin route. There are some negatives in our environment in that you can't take a digital wallet and go out and maybe use a debit card like on Coinbase and have your crypto be as a part of that debit coin. So we recognize there are some benefits of the exchanges that we can offer today. But rest assured, we're looking at some of those features and how to bring that to market into the OneGold ecosystem in the future.
Great. And see plenty of questions here. Anything crypto, I'm happy to answer at info at Rocket Dollar. I really want to keep today on precious metals though. There's one here from Michelle that has, what's the difference between holding the metals personally or, through an IRA, and then something like an investment. So I think she's talking about, like an ETF, a gold ETF versus holding it personally or through OneGold.
So a lot of people, so there's really four ways you can be a metal, right? You can be a metal by owning a gold mining stock. You can be a metal by owning an ETF. And the ETF typically charges 30 to 40 basis points a year for an annual fee, but there's lower upfront costs to get into. Typically have to be tied to a brokerage account of some sort. You can't self-manage it quite as easily. And you can't convert to physical if you ever want to. A lot of question marks out there about whether metal's truly back in the ETFs. I'm going to leave that for others to debate. But you're not tied to the banking system like you are. ETFs, you're tied to the banking system, unlike a product like OneGold. So that's the ETF space. The other option is some people buy physical. They buy gold eagles and silver maples and other products, specific products, and then they just store it with a product like we have. We have Citadel product, which is stored at Brinks, where it's your metal, your specific product, held segregated in your own bin at Brinks. It's a great option. You just pay higher fees on the front end, and the storage fees run about 55 basis points a year for that because you're paying a lot of cost to store that in a segregated form. The beautiful thing about OneGold is you have low cost, not quite as low as an ETF, but you have all the flexibility of moving dollars back and forth, self-managing it, taking physical when you want, doing auto invest, trading 24/7. By the way, an ETF will only let you trade during open trading hours. On OneGold, you can trade that at Sunday morning at 8 a.m. and execute your trade. So it gives you a lot more flexibility at a slightly higher premium. And the metal's always there, and it's your title, it's your metal. Where an ETF, if something heaven forbid were to happen, I'm not real sure where those assets would go, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that constant interplay between convenience and control. actually the redemption is such a big difference that, a gold ETF, a TD Ameritrade, you're buying and selling purely through TD Ameritrade. You never get to interact with any other part of that system of the precious metals ecosystem. So you're also constrained to exactly the interface that you've got. You got a buy and sell button at TD Ameritrade. That's all you're ever going to have, no matter what happens with the markets, with gold, with precious metals, or people want to redeem that physical gold.
And look, Brendan, I like to believe that we've tried to build an ecosystem with OneGold where when you use our app, it's so easy. Buying metal is complicated. Understanding spreads and what product to buy, and it takes time to research. And on OneGold, it's so intuitive, so easy. You can look at how your portfolio's trend in terms of its value changes. You can read market news. You can set alerts up, tell me when gold's down 3% so I can act. All this stuff can be done right on your phone in the app, where I don't think that some of those features exist within certain other products in the market today.
Yeah, and it's bringing much more of that instant liquidity expectation that people expect with the crypto markets, with the ease of Robinhood. Even though that's market hours, people expect to just be able to click buttons and buy and sell. So that the simplicity of the app, and even you just mentioned, like using the OneGold app to track gold prices. That's something I'm going to do after this webinar. I trade a bit of Coinbase, just a little bit, but how much do I use that to check crypto prices, to see where the market is going, see where customers might be asking questions. And their app allows me to do that. So again, check out the OneGold app.
And remember, hey, Brendan, remember too, you can buy as little as $2, $1 in product at a time. You can do it in any size transaction, which you can't really do in a lot of other products as well. So it's really meant to make it easy for ownership for anybody in the market. That was our goal, at least, going into it.
Yeah. And a lot of Rocket Dollar customers, they have big investments, and a lot of questions that they ask us is they're like, hey, I just sold a giant real estate investment. I don't want to put this money in the stock market, but I have 4.5 months before my next property is available. So that's a huge Rocket Dollar need sometimes. And we've been looking ways in partnerships of saying, hey, how do we provide more easy in, easy out type of investments and experiences for our customers to go to a different market, be outside the stock market, be able to get in, get out before they enter something like a 2 to 3 year hold time investment with a big bit of dollars. And dollars are left over. They'll do a big investment for 100,000, but there's 20,000 left over. Where do they put that money? That's something you could think about. Open up the OneGold app, get an account open there.
People would be amazed, Brendan. Our average account size is north of $10,000. Average. So a lot of people love to kind of put it there and forget about it. It's a very common tactic.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Another person loving the OneGold interface. A bunch of praise here. It's awesome. So someone asked, I showed up late to the webinar. I really like using AppMex and OneGold, but how can I transfer an account or start one at Rocket Dollar? Can I incorporate my 401k? And the answer is, if you have an old 401k from a job you used to have, yes, you can bring that over. You can roll over a traditional IRA and bring that to Rocket Dollar. Sometimes bringing your current 401k is a bit harder. If you're older, if you're 50, 55, if you're 59 and a half, you can definitely bring it over. But for a lot of 401ks, it's really frustrating. They like to kind of keep a good hold on the assets and they kind of lock them up there. So you never know unless you ask. I always ask and say, hey, can I do an in-service rollover? Could I roll over to my own IRA? And you know what? If they say no, currently there is CARES Act distributions where people can take out a distribution of their 401k, and then they can put it into an IRA or back into the 401k within 3 years. So we've had some customers, that have been very, very frustrated with their current 401k. The options are very limited. They want to be in the stock market for some of it, but they get no access to these other investments. So they take out a CARES Act distribution for some of the dollars. They put that into a self-directed IRA, and they get some nice diversification with that. Because that's a really big issue in America is if you have a great 401k, but all of your dollars are there, you don't want to leave your job just to get access to your 401k. But it should be a message to bosses out there in HR. Some people get frustrated about this. It's a constant call that we get. I've even had some people that, they have a big nest egg there and they consider, hey, it's time for a job change. I can't move my 401k. I got a lot of assets there. I want to free that up. The CARES Act, however, lets you get around that. And that's still going until the end of the year here. We'll see politically how things work out and stimulus if some of that stuff gets extended. There's been a lot of, Michelle asked, there's been a lot of negative effects about the market based around the election and the chaos we're having. So Ken, does the gold market fall under the same scrutiny?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, metals reacted very interesting on Monday. They were down considerably when the vaccine news came out, and the dollar was very strong. And then you look at today, and it's been kind of a flip, if you will. I think, you know, it's very difficult to project what metal prices are going to do. And what I can tell you is that traditionally, a Republican in office versus a Democrat in office tends to be good for precious metals, generally speaking. Very low interest rates tend to be very good for precious metals because the cost of ownership is nil. We're looking at probably real interest rates of negative because inflation is likely to exceed our interest rates. Good for precious metals. So there's a lot of good things there. But can we safely say that metals are going to do well in the future? I don't think anyone can make that prediction. Analyst projections right now have metal prices as high as $2,300 an ounce for gold. I don't know what that's going to come to fruition. I just tell people buy 10, 15% of your assets in metal. How can you go wrong? Because now you're protected for the both sides of the equation is really the advice I try to give people.
Great. All right, thank you, Ken. And we have some remaining questions. I'd say, Henry, definitely message the OneGold support team about that. I'm sure they'll get you taken care of. If you have any more questions on Rocket Dollar side, info@Rocket Dollar is the way to go. And also our 855 number. Leave a voicemail, leave us a message. We'll get back to you. We'll get a conversation started about how you can help you with a subjected IRA. We'll talk over anything retirement-wise. On the OneGold side, for questions or current customers, Ken, where do they go?
Go right to the OneGold site or the app. We have online chat. We take service very, very important. We're 4.9 out of 5 on our shopper approved ratings. You're going to be taken care of. Reach out. We've got appropriately staffed at all times, and we'll make sure we take care of you.
Awesome. Yeah. And if there's anything about connecting OneGold and Rocket Dollar, I'm always ready to listen. I got connections with Levi, working on partnerships over there at OneGold. We'll make sure we get you taken care of. And if you open an IRA LLC at Rocket Dollar, we'll make sure you get your IRA LLC or your solo 401k up at OneGold. So thank you everyone for coming. Feel free, if you still have questions, shoot those to info@Rocket Dollar or the support chat, the chat there at OneGold. We've got that discount code here for OneGold for $50 off if you want to try anything at Rocket Dollar. Thanks for joining us today, Ken.
Thanks for time. Great.
All right, appreciate it. Feel free to share this recording with anyone, your friends out there. We also give nice referral bonuses for people at Rocket Dollar as well. All right, thank you, Thomas. Thomas has been our diligent streamer here. We can cut things off. Thanks for joining us, everybody.